Psaki declined to comment on whether the US believes China has already provided the Russians with military, economic, or other assistance. In advance of the talks, Sullivan bluntly warned China to avoid helping Russia evade punishment from global sanctions that have hammered the Russian economy. "We will not allow that to go forward," he said. Russia, however, on Monday denied it needed China's help. Barricades partially block a road at dusk in Kyiv. AP No, Russia has its own potential to continue the operation, which, as we have said, is unfolding in accordance with the plan and will be completed on time and in full, said Dmitry Peskov, President Vladimir Putin's spokesman. The Russians have seen significant losses of tanks, helicopters, and other materials since the start of the war more than 2 weeks ago. Ukraine, while overmatched by Russian forces, is well equipped with anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles. Russia's and China's weapons systems have limited interoperability, and it's not clear what weapons China has that Russia would be in short supply of. The Biden administration is also accusing China of spreading Russian disinformation that could be a pretext for Putin's forces to attack Ukraine with chemical or biological weapons. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has put China in a delicate spot with two of its biggest trading partners, the US and European Union. China needs access to those markets, yet it also has shown support for Moscow, joining with Russia in declaring a friendship with no limits. An aerial view of dark smoke rising from several buildings, and a flash of light from an apparent blast in Mariupol, Ukraine. AP asked at a daily briefing about the reported Russian request for assistance. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian said, "The US has been spreading disinformation targeting China recently over the Ukraine issue. It is malicious." In Ukraine, Russian forces let a first column of cars escape Ukraine's besieged port of Mariupol on Tuesday AEDT, but blocked an aid convoy trying to reach the city, Ukraine said. Mariupol loading the column of refugees comes after 10 days of failed attempts to rescue civilians under relentless bombardment. The southeastern port, totally surrounded by Russian troops since the first week of the invasion, has suffered the worst humanitarian impact of the war, with hundreds of thousands of people sheltering in basements without food or water. Local Ukrainian authorities say as many as 2,500 civilians have so far in the city, a toll that cannot be independently confirmed. Russia denies targeting civilians. At 1 o'clock the Russians opened a checkpoint and those who have cars and fuel began to leave Mariupol in the direction of Zaporizhia, Andrei Rempel, a representative of the Mariupol City Council, who is now in Zaporizhia, a Ukrainian-held city further north, told. In the first 2 hours, 160 cars left. There are probably already many more now. The city continues to be aired, but this road is not being shelled. We don't know when the first cars can get to Zaporizhia, as there are still many Russian checkpoints that need to be passed. But Kirilo Tymoshenko, a senior aide to President Volodymyr Zelensky, later said Russia had yet again blocked a humanitarian aid convoy trying to reach the city with supplies. Obtaining safe passage for aid to reach Mariupol and civilians to get out has been Kyiv's main demand at several rounds of talks. All previous attempts at a local ceasefire in the area have failed. Drone video footage released by Ukrainian forces in Mariupol showed a desolate wasteland of aired-out buildings, many in flames, with smoke pouring into the sky. People salvage belongings from a residential apartment block that was hit by Russian shelling in Kyiv. A pregnant woman, who became a symbol of Ukraine's suffering when she was photographed being carried from an aid maternity hospital in Mariupol last week, has along with her baby. The number of refugees fleeing Ukraine since Russia invaded on February 24 climbed to more than 2.8 million, United Nations data showed on Monday, in what has become Europe's fastest-growing refugee crisis since World War II. Russia and Ukraine's latest negotiations, which were held via video conference, were the fourth round involving higher-level officials from the two countries, and the first in a week. The talks ended without a breakthrough after several hours, with an aide to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying the negotiators took a technical pause and planned to meet again Tuesday. The two sides had expressed some optimism in the past few days. Mikhailo Podolyak, the aide to Zelensky, said at the weekend that Russia was listening carefully to our proposals. He tweeted Monday that the negotiators would discuss peace, ceasefire, immediate withdrawal of troops and security guarantees. Air raid alerts sounded in cities and towns around the country, from near the Russian border in the east to the Carpathian Mountains in the west, and fighting continued on the outskirts of Kyiv. Ukrainian officials said Russian forces shelled several suburbs of the capital. Ukrainian authorities said 2 people were when the Russians struck an aircraft factory in Kyiv, sparking a large fire. The Antonov factory was Ukraine's largest aircraft manufacturing plant and was best known for producing many of the world's biggest cargo planes. Loading,